Hello and welcome to my second tutorial. Today I'm going to have a look at Bumblebee. Now, Bumblebee is not my favourite Transformer. I have to admit I've never drawn him before. But I know he's a very popular choice, so there's probably a lot of people that want to know how to draw Bumblebee. One difference though with this one is, compared to my Optimus one, if you've watched that, I will have to use source material. So I will be having an image up to reference, basically, either pictures of toys, etc., to get the details. And obviously to get the face to look right, because if it doesn't look like Bumblebee in the face, it's just not going to be Bumblebee. So that's one of the key things. So we're going to go ahead and start. And if you've watched my last tutorial, you're probably going to hear me repeat quite a few things. The reason being is I want people to be able to watch these videos independently of each other and still be able to pick up everything. So without further ado, we'll start again. So anyway, Transformers, I tend to draw them as humanoids, so I go for the circles structure. And if you haven't seen how to do that, you might be able to pick it up from what I do here, but if not, there's plenty of tutorials online and I'll probably do some in the end. Now I also go for a stocky human, because Transformers are always bulky and, you know, made of cubes and squares and big metal plates. So first of all, we're going to start and we're going to sketch out a rough outline of how we want Bumblebee to look. So we're going to go for a pose that we want to go for. So you can go and experiment with this many different times until you get the result you want. But I'm just going to do it quickly because I want to do it for this video. So anyway, we'll start away. So anyway, we'll start with the head. Okay, that's the middle of the head. In fact, should we do him straight on? Should we do him? Let's do him looking. Yeah, let's do him straight on, but looking down. So anyway, I'm going to start with the body. So this is the chest. Here's the core, so your stomach, hips, and there's a thigh. Okay, and then obviously the big foot, because the feet are big. Okay, so shoulders, and arm and hand, so that's a forearm, come into a hand, and I want this to be a fist. And this arm, because of perspective, I want it going backwards, so it's going behind him, and then the forearm's coming forward like this. Okay, so the other thigh, and then the bottom of this leg. So as you can see, like the last one, I've drawn in circles like a human, but I have made them bigger in certain places. The last one I actually drew these like a thin shin like a human with an ankle joint and everything like that. I've actually gone straight ahead and done them as big boots this time. Okay, so what I'll do is just clear it up a little bit so you can see it better. Now, if I bring my reference picture of Bumblebee, he has a fairly sticking out chest. It sticks right out because this is the cab of the Beetle. And then it comes back in again, because that's how the cab is. Obviously you've got your windows in here. Okay, and obviously a window pane here as well. Again, this is just rough at the moment. It's just to get happy with what you're drawing. And I'm going to draw onto his back, because this all helps with the bulkiness of it being a transformer and loads of mechanical parts. I'm going to draw two big bulky bits there. Okay, now for his shoulders, I'm going to draw them into cubes. I probably want to make that come out slightly more, so I'll do that again because I want to add that bulk. So we'll do it out here, and again, perspective is for these. So you're going to be drawing cubes, but you're going to try and get perspective because that makes the transformer look better. So I'll cube out this one. Ooh, that way, and it's going behind him, isn't it? So it's going this way. second portion of the arm is a smaller cube. Generally you can follow the same perspective as this one. Again, drawing that line, you see the line the way it's going, and you follow that on. Right, now with forearms, I always do this with Transformers, I do the forearms a lot bulkier. So these are going to be your bigger cubes. So try and figure out one face of the cube first. So I'll probably say there, then the other one there, and to get that perspective there, that perspective there, and there. Okay, so that's that cube for his forearm. Next we're going to do the cube for this forearm. So I want this to be a nice flat panel. So there, and coming down like this. Now that perspective probably looks out, but it's the angle it's at. And again, you've got this one in here, so the lower cube there. Okay, now to go to the core. Now, as I said in the previous tutorial, you come in, so you've got big chest, bulky, all mechanical parts, but then you come in tight for the core. So they're narrow here. So if I just look at my reference material again, what's he got going on around the core? Again, because I've never drawn Bumblebee, your best bet is to look at some reference material. So the reference material I've got actually hasn't got much of a core, it goes straight into his belt. When I say belt, it's like a big bulky piece of metal that goes around here in sections. So we'll just draw where I think that will be. Okay. So that's, I think that is too far to the right. I think that we're going to be more to the left. So we go again. But then coming off this, you have the other parts of the belt, so there, probably there, but you need to make these solid objects as well. So you want to put a lip on these like that. Same with this one as well. Okay, right, next we'll do the thighs. Now these are again big cubes like these, but they're very big. So you can put a bit of a round to them. Okay, but again, perspective is going to be your friend in making these look better. So make sure you get the perspective right. This is a mistake I made in my last tutorial. I didn't get the perspective right, and it looked a bit off at the end. That's wrong, that perspectives, for instance. I'm not happy with that one. That's how this leg's going to go. So it's going to go there, so yeah, so it's going slightly behind him. Okay. Next, again, I'm going to use the reference materials of this, because he's got these big feet at the bottom, and basically they're the bonnets of the vehicle, of the Beetle. So you're going to want to draw these as accurate as possible. They're quite iconic for Bumblebee. It's got the headlights of the Beetles in here. So you're basically just drawing half of a Beetle bonnet. of the beetle is on the sole of his foot as well. So okay, now to draw the lip of the panel inside, and then the perspective of the foot. Okay, and then we're going to do obviously a cube coming out the top, because that's what's connected to it all. Now that might be too big. I might have done that too big for the size of the body, so I'm going to rub that out and I'm going to go slightly smaller. Probably want to sketch it out before I start doing any kind of details, waste my time again. I think that's probably better size. Headlight, bonnet, panel, lip, obviously the bumper as well. Okay, that's a bit smaller. I'm happy with that. Now this is going to be in here. It's going to be shadow or machine parts. It's up to you. So machine parts would be pistons, etc. You do what you want to do basically in here. But we'll probably come back to that later. Right, back onto this one. Now this one's going to be a bit harder because it's the same as this, but from behind as an angle. So first one I'm going to try and sketch it out, so I get the rough shape. Yeah, it just looks wrong. So how would this be? Let's have a think. I'm going to bring it slightly forward so it's coming like that. So you're going to see the side of it, definitely. Again, this sketching phase, back and forth, keep drawing it, take a step back, have a look, see if the perspective's right. Transformers, as I say, I learnt with the last tutorial, and I have picked up before when drawing Transformers, it's perspective, and is very important. These look like machines, it's the same as drawing any kind of vehicles. If the perspective's off, the whole drawing will look off, because the machines have to be accurate, because they're mechanical, they're made, Right, so I'm happy with the angle of that now, but this now is not right. Shame he doesn't have knee joints, because knee joints are useful to hide all this in here, where it connects. Right, so I'm not happy about that leg. I'm going to redo the whole leg. Might put him down on one knee maybe, I don't know. keep going back and forth until you get that perspective you want. So you think it looks just right. Okay, so I'm going to go that perspective there. You see a little bit of that lip and that light come over the top there. Bumper, bonnet. And the perspective of this is, because it's going backwards, it's going to be going smaller slightly. So it's thinner here than it is up here. And going into this cube for this one. So obviously got to do some interconnections here. Right, now the hands. Now generally, oops, I'm quite good at drawing human hands, and that's how I tend to start drawing. Well, good, I'm reasonable. I start drawing human hands and then I change them into Transformers hands. So what you'll probably see me do is draw like the outline of a fist, which I can eyeball, but if you need practice drawing hands, you need to go and do the practice. There's no simple way to get them to look right. I mean, I have a few techniques I try and talk through as I do it, but if you don't know how to draw hands, it's quite complicated. But what I'll do is I'll use a different technique today, and I'll do like almost like a cuboid version of the hand, like I've done with these being cubes. I'm going to draw the hands as cubes, so that at least get the perspective right. So that's one hand. And as I said in the last tutorial, Transformers, the hands are usually quite big. Right, so this hand is this cube. So you've got to imagine these are the fingers going along here, and you want the thumb, same perspective, coming off because it's another cube. Okay, then on the back of the hand I always draw a plate, which is basically to cover the articulations. So, and then you've got the detail of the fingers. Now I will go into more detail when I draw the ink. You'll see these come out, but because you want to draw all the articulate bits. In fact, that's come out quite well using cubes and that, so we'll give this a go and see how we get on. The same with this one. So you're going to want to draw the thumb from the top down this time, coming in here, then the fingers, but you're not going to see them all this time because the top finger is going to take priority from this view. And then we've got the angled plate. It's the wrong angle. Okay, so again, I will do, the thumb needs to be bigger. Let's say when I get to the inking, you'll see me put a lot more detail in these. Okay, so we've got the rough Bumblebee outline now. We'll draw the head now, so this definitely is where I use source material. As I say, get this right. Otherwise, he won't look like Bumblebee. So I'm going to try and find a nice head shot. Probably as good as any. A nice G1 one I've got there. Bumblebee's quite wide-eyed. He's meant to be like almost like a young, petulant teenager, I suppose. This fan off his head. And Bumblebee's got horns in G1. So you want to draw those in, but I'm probably going to draw those as not rounded like the G1. I'm going to make them cuboid. Okay. And this helmet comes out like that. Got some other pictures of him quickly. Make sure I'm doing this right. Okay, so I think that's about right for a rough sketch of his face. So the head looks all right. I'm just going to go around and neaten this up now, make this sketch a lot more detailed. So with these, I don't like to make them fully just cubes. I like to give them a slightly angled edge. Put a lip on them then. Make them look more like a living machine than just a machine. Same with these, and definitely with these, because these are like a focal point. So what you're going to do is you're going to bolt these out, but give them like an edge to them like this. So they've got, rather than 4 sides around, they've got 8 with these 4 very thin sides. A bit more accurate. Okay, I'm going to do the same here. So what I'm doing is drawing the lines across like that, how I want them to, following the perspective lines. Okay. So that bit should be looking a bit more accurate. Again, a lip inside here and one in here if you can see it, but I think that hand's going to obscure that one. Okay, let's make these a bit more accurate. So into the back here. See, I'm going to stop myself making a mistake I made on my last tutorial, where I kind of rushed the sketch stage because we're doing a tutorial. I didn't want to spend too long on it because it's a bit boring for people, but the perspective at the end was completely off, which was really noticeable. So I'm going to try and spend a bit more time getting this a bit more accurate. Okay. Right, so that's just going along, getting all these a bit more definite. So when I do come to colour, that's a door off his back, off his side. When I do come to colour or ink, it's a lot more clear what I'm doing, a lot clearer. So I've split that into two sections there. I want that as two different blocks. Probably separate this as well. So for the machine parts, I'm just going to put that like that for now, just so you can see where it goes. It's going to be dark. I might just make that black, depending on how detailed I want to go. Drawing machine parts can get very, very complicated. You can really go as detailed as you like. A quick look back at my reference materials. Basically, just get reference materials. I googled in G1 Bumblebee. There's loads of images that you can like take the reference off. Basically, I just drew those lines so they were completely accurate, drew them straight across, but then these are going to be slight cutouts. How am I going to do it like that? Well, I want these at a slight angle again, like these here. So I think they're a bit higher up actually, like low on his leg, probably obscured a bit by the hip joint. Okay. Right, and the same with this bit here. Okay, so obviously my fisheye lens is making it maybe look a little bit out of perspective, but you'll see that if I take a step back and have a look, that looks in pretty good. No, that looks out of perspective, so his chest is coming down flat, these have got to come down flat like that as well. So it's taking a step back, maybe realise that I didn't want that sticking. Probably do a little notch cut out on those as well, so it goes like that. Okay. Obviously, I think Bumblebee's logo's on his chest. So that's source material. Yeah, he's got a big logo on the chest, which is obviously the roof of the beetle. So I'll do that. Right, I believe he has wheels on his shoulders. Let's have a look. Okay, in some depictions he does. I'm going to draw him with wheels on his shoulders. I believe in the toy form he does. Let's see if we can find a toy. Yeah, he does. He has them on his arms in the toy. So we'll go from the toy. Just have a closer look at one of the toys. Right, yeah, he's got all 4 wheels on his arms in the toy. So let's see if we can put those on. I've just realised something as well. He has the brake lights on his shoulders as well. I'll just put one in there. Okay. Right, so with wheels, I would use, as I probably mentioned in my tutorials before, I'd use French curves or stencils. Now, the thing with wheels and circles, you know, they really, like a lot of machine parts, they'll look off if they're not right. So I'm going to use stencils for this. Usually I wouldn't use stencils in the sketching phase, but I want them in this one because I want them accurate. So I'm going to do, he's got 2 wheels on his arm, he's going to have one here and he's going to have one on his forearm. So I'll just get a rough of where I want it, so I get the perspective right. So it's going to be like a drum, like a cylinder there. Okay, and then one, how's that going to go? Just fiddle around the perspective, then take a look back, step back and have a look if that looks from right. Now that's probably not low enough, that was a lot lower, it's probably meant on the centre here, so I want this one to be mounted on the centre of this plate here. Same perspective. This will be like that. And once I've got the rough sketches of all the wheels, then I'll be using this to make them more accurate. So to be, where do I want? So I'm going to mount the centre point on the forearm where I want the wheel to be mounted. So there, probably to there. Now that perspective's off because it has to be the perspective of the arm. As I say, I'm not listening to my own advice about perspective. So this perspective here. Okay. You get a right mess with this, with the wheels and that. And then this one is going to be mounted. If I just draw this plate here, so around there. Again, straight lines off the same perspective. Okay. So now we're going to use the stencils. I want to make these a lot more accurate. So what size are we looking at? Probably that size for that one. Now these probably need a different size, different angle cylinders, ellipses, but I don't have different angles. I mean, if you have them, obviously you can use them, you can experiment and see what size you want it. So this one's bigger, so this is going to be at the front here. So also, you do the inside of the tyre. That. Too big? I don't know. Okay, so there's the wheels. so we've got the rough Bumblebee sketch now. Now I'm happy this sketch is not as rough as the last one when I did the Optimus Prime, so I'm happy this will come out better perspective wise when we draw this in ink. So what you can do is you can keep going over this, getting every little detail, so when you're drawing the ink it's easier because you can see exactly what you were going for. Now I prefer to jump straight into inks, and that was a mistake on my last tutorial, but I'm going to do it again on this one because I think this one's a lot more detailed than the last tutorial anyway, and I believe the sketch is already a lot more detailed than what I was working with the Optimus, so I believe I could do this now with inks. So if you'd like to join me in the next video, and I'll go through the inking phase.